This goes on for ages. You can't have this as the opening quote.
Film. Sell. This is the Science Fiction Rating System, the podcast that aims to rank every science fiction film from 1 to infinity. It's 2019. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to Chris Redding.
Happy New Year, Sam Draper.
And Happy New Year to Alex Humphrey.
Happy New Year, Sam Draper. Happy New Year, Chris Redding.
Happy New Year, Alex Humphrey. We're just going to go around.
Yeah, we've not done one yet. I think that's everyone, isn't it? Yeah.
That's everyone, yep.
How's everyone's Christmas and New Year? All good?
Nice. It was good.
Relaxing?
Yeah. I was in a hotel. I had food provided for me. It was nice.
Oh, very nice.
And a swimming pool. There's a swimming pool at the hotel. That was great.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Posh Christmas.
Posh Christmas. Indeed.
Like Home Alone 2.
Yeah. Was Donald Trump there?
Was it like Home Alone 2?
No, it wasn't like... Yeah. No, sadly not. I did get a flat tyre, but that wasn't through kind of robbery-related incidents. There was no one trying to attack me or anything. No.
A small child didn't do it?
No.
Well, that's good. And Chris, how was yours? Nice, relaxing? I saw you didn't over the break, actually. We went for a little walk.
Yes, I came up to the Derbyshire. We had a lovely walk.
Little stroll.
And a beer and a pork pie.
And a pork pie to get over the walk.
Yeah.
In fact, today's film was a bit like the landscape of that walk. Not our walk wasn't quite as extreme as this, but
I mean, at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Did some woodsman come up to you at the beginning and ask you if you were
No, but
out
I did
for a
peel
walk?
my skin off at the end.
Yeah. And I set him on fire.
You set me on fire.
Yeah, it's massive spoilers, but never mind. Yeah, so to start 2019, we are... Oh, actually, before we do that, as the start of a new year, I'm just going to reiterate what the podcast is, because we've got some new listeners.
Yeah, I thought we should probably do that at the top of each one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So just in case this is your first time. Well, if this is your first time, congratulations, you've chosen the right week to start because we're on point.
Yeah.
We'll see how far we get into the year, remember to do this. But yeah, so it's the Science Fiction Rating System. This is the podcast where we talk through a film, full of spoilers. So if you want to watch it beforehand, that's best, because we're going to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it. And we discuss what we thought about it. And then we put the film into a great big list of films that we have been rating and ranking for 2 whole years now.
Ooh.
How many films have we got? Let's have a look. It's a few, isn't it?
100 and something.
114 films.
Wow.
And you can see that list at sciencefictionratingsystem.com. That's pretty much, isn't it, really? That's what goes on. Pretty much. And once a year we re-rank 3 films that we can't agree on. But to kick off this year, we are watching 3 films from 5 years ago, because that's the earliest we allow ourselves to watch films. Films released 5 years ago is the most recent we can watch, although we have broken that rule on several occasions. Yeah. But not anymore, we're not breaking it anymore. So we each picked a film from said year to watch, and my pick was Under the Skin, directed by Jonathan Glazer, based on a book by Michael Faber, which I'm guessing neither of you have read.
No, I read what the book's about, though.
Right, that's more than I've done. I haven't read the book. I think I want to read it. But,
okay.
I watched the film that the book's based on.
Yeah, which is more appropriate, which is good, because if you'd read the book and not watched the film, it wouldn't be much of a podcast, would
minimum.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan Glazer said, I knew that I absolutely didn't want to film the book, but I still wanted to make the book a film. So there you go.
Right, yeah.
Which is quite a cryptic thing to say, but...
This film obviously is not the book, is it? Because as a book, this film wouldn't really work, I don't think. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Someone could probably make it work, but it'd be a very strange, a very, very odd book.
There's one element, I won't say it now, there's one element when I read the plot synopsis of the book, which makes you go, oh, all right, I understand that a little bit more, but I can wait till we talk about it to tell you.
Right, okay. Yeah, because I think, crucial to this film is that it kind of unfolds itself. Your understanding of what's happening develops as it's going on, doesn't it? It leaves some things ambiguous, but definitely at the start, you're kind of in the dark. Literally and figuratively, actually, because it starts with a black screen. for long enough that I thought my copy had broken. But it hadn't. So yeah, Under the Skin, it begins in blackness.
I love the beginning.
Yeah, it's a strong
Good
opening.
beginning. That must have looked amazing on the cinema screen, that opening.
Yeah. Big flash of white light going into an eye, and Scarlett Johansson warming up her English accent for the film.
I love how they do that trick of the it's supposed to look like planets, and then it goes into the eye.
Yeah. It's like an ambiguous sort of shape that becomes an iris, isn't it? Eventually,
The shapes of nature.
the shapes of the cosmos. Yeah. And then hard cut from that to the icy climes of Scotland, where a mysterious motorcyclist is racing down a road.
The bad man, as he's known in the as in the script or the.
Is that his title? Right.
Yeah, and she is called the female as well.
The one who he picks up, or Scarlett Johansson?
No, Scarlett Johansson is the female,
right?
And he's the bad man,
right?
And he's a championship motorcycle road racer. He's not an actor at all, but that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, considering that's mainly what he does is ride around.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, and also that's this film's gimmick, isn't it? Which we'll get to in more detail in a little bit. So yeah, he just setting it up. He picks up the body of a girl from a side of the road, puts her in a van, takes her to a mysterious white room where a naked Scarlett Johansson undresses the girl and clothes herself as her, and the girl lets out a solitary tear. Deep. And yeah, it's a bit odd. But then the film properly starts, and so yeah, the gimmick of this film really is that they did a lot of hidden camera footage, didn't they? And they basically filmed a lot of. There's not many actors at all in the film, is there? I mean,
but I read all this. I read that everyone in it is basically.
What is an actor?
All right. Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, they're all real people that she really picked up.
Yeah.
And they filmed. Is it that they filmed the initial encounter and then they kind of stopped and said, right, we're filming a film and you're going to need to sign this thing and also you're going to need to do these other things. And are you okay with that? And everyone was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. But it's quite unbelievable, isn't it? I mean,
well, I don't.
With what everyone does in this film.
Glasgow, though.
Yeah, I mean, is that why they filmed it up there?
They weren't all okay with it, I don't think. Plenty of people weren't okay with it. And also, I don't believe that they're not all actors.
Yeah, see, I think
you can... Well, I know for one, I mean, definitely the deformed man, as the script calls him, is an actor.
Yeah.
And I think also there's a couple... I think definitely towards the start, the ones that doesn't go that far, that she just talks to, you can tell. But there's something about the other ones that you can tell, okay, they're not actors, but they've been prompted because they've lost that kind of natural...
yes, that's what I thought. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's more they've talked up the angle that it's all real. But
I mean, but to be honest, I think the more interesting thing of that anyway is these first scenes where she's like walking and driving around Glasgow, and it's not a direct one-on-one encounter, but you get her going through like a crowd of football fans in a van and walking around a supermarket and a shopping centre and stuff. And I think those scenes are. I don't know. They're just odd, aren't they? Because
I think they're a much creative way of doing the sort of Man Who Fell to Earth style idea, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. It's very. You kind of. I guess the main purpose of this film is to see, like Man Who Fell to Earth, to see the world through an alien's eyes, and you do get that with the way it's filmed, and it's quite naturalistic, but it's also very stylized and. Just how she looks, and also, it's clever because she's so famous in a way, and she's so recognisable. Yeah. But no one is recognising her, and isn't it that I read that it's basically no one believed that she would be there, so they just didn't think it was her.
Yeah.
Which is like a prostitute as well.
Well, there's that as well. Yeah.
It's not fun to watch though. The reaction she does get, like the people. Like some eyes do like linger on her, don't they? And some like just don't see her at all. It's strange. It's very odd. But yeah, no. I mean, her commitment to the role is really cool as well. The fact that I don't know if you read about how she's basically driving this van around, and then she's got a tow truck on the back with all the gear in it.
Oh.
And the crew in the back of the van. So, the tow truck is a generator, electric generator.
Oh God!
So she's just driving around with that, with everyone in the van with her, in character, which is a pretty, ballsy thing to do for a. I mean, by this point she'd made Avengers and was, as big as an actor could get, isn't it? So it's quite a interesting role to take. So that's how the film starts, and you kind of don't know. She keeps asking men for directions. I'm not. Are you from around
to the
here?
M8. Yeah,
the M8. Yes.
It's near the Asdas, I heard.
She's very interested in if they're single or not, and if they aren't single, she just drives off.
We should have done this with Species, like a double bill.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Although she doesn't drive around Glasgow in Species.
No, but the same thing.
It is the same sort of idea. She's trying to find a lone man to pick up for nefarious means. And of course, being a lone man and getting in a car with Scarlett Johansson, they'll do anything, even follow her to a creepy rundown house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, do you buy this? Would you follow Scarlett Johansson into a creepy rundown house?
No. No.
I don't know, Glasgow.
That's just your rebuttal to everything in this film.
No, because it's not like they have a few drinks or they go to somewhere and they relax.
That doesn't happen in Glasgow.
Okay.
Wow. I'm just going to distance myself from all these comments. Glasgow's quite nice. You've been to Glasgow?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it's like...
I know what you mean.
Shitty world. It's not a let's go for cocktails sort of world.
I get that. And if it was like a quickie in the van or something like that, maybe.
Yeah,
it's the concept of driving them to like a derelict block of flats or house in a creepy estate. That's the bit I don't...
Yeah, and in a
maybe that's just me
van.
being naive, though, to be honest. Like,
why is she in that van as well? Like, she's not like, it's not like she has this convincing backstory of like, oh, I'm moving into my new house, or I mean, it's very sparse on the dialogue, which is good. Yeah. It wouldn't be better if it wasn't.
There is that one guy who asks something, and she's like, "Oh, I'm moving some furniture for a friend." Isn't that's a line that she uses?
Yeah.
Which again is like the way she says that, you'd be like, right, this is clearly a serial killer. I'm getting out of the van.
I do get the vibe of it's a bit of like I'm getting the vibe of like it's an LA actress pretending to be something in it.
You don't buy her as
I'm seeing her acting more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe that's good because you've got to step back away from it. That's putting you at odds with it. That's making you already kind of like, you're already kind of questioning it. That's good, maybe.
Yeah.
I think her level of fame and who she is like one of the most interesting things about the story and what it says about that character. But we'll get to that later on because I think it's more.
Imagine like if the alien had like just found a poster or an image of Scarlett Johansson and used that as a template.
If that would have been interesting.
But that's kind of what's happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that is what's happened. She has picked a deliberately... Because they make a real point of the Glasgow shots of you never really see anyone doled up or... Without wanting to be mean, like you never see anyone particularly attractive, do you, in these Glasgow shots?
They're all they're all very normal. Just
very
everyday
normal,
folk.
Down-to-earth,
Yeah.
Overweight or old or things like no one is like dressed up and glamorous like her, and they make it very clear how different she is. So that's why that choice is very deliberate, I think, isn't it? That it is her, and that she does look, even though she doesn't look necessarily like herself because she's a bit prostituted up, it's still clearly a glamorous, attractive young woman, and not.
Yeah. I still wouldn't get in the van with her though. I don't think I would.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would either. But then you see, you I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think I would.
Apparently, the guy had been in a couple of movies before this.
Which one?
The guy she picks up.
The first one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, the first guy she gets is one of these. I think the Motherwell fans, aren't they? Oh, Hibernian fans, Hibs fans, I think. And she picks one up and takes him back to the house, which reveals itself as a big black abyss. And he undresses whilst following her into the abyss and then disappears into a black lake. And at this point, that's all we see.
Like all of her sort of, there's not any spaceship or anything shown.
Yeah.
You see a couple of lights, don't you, at the start over the block of flats, but that's it. Yeah.
I like how it's very abstract, and it doesn't show any of that, because that can like really flavour something, can't it? In a unconstructive way sometimes. Because
definitely, yeah. Like imagine she's taking it back and strapping him into like a machine out of the Enterprise, something like that. It would be much less effective, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And also, like, I mean, this is the idea of alien as like literally aliens in something that you can't comprehend or understand. Is so much more interesting, isn't it?
He just doesn't have the software to compute what he's seeing, so we're kind of seeing that.
Yeah.
And I mean, this film for me, this first half's very strong because of that, because of how alien it is, and I think that's the second half for me falls apart, and it's because of how strong this sort of feeling of
100%. I 100% agree with you. I think it's a film that opens really well and is really interesting and really kind of creepy and disturbing, and then I think it just goes. It was almost be better as a short film. I don't know. Maybe I don't think I don't. The ideas run to the running time
bit for me, but we're not there yet. I mean, the whole first half film is basically her picking up men, isn't it? We get there's a great scene of the guy. She goes to a beach and there's a swimmer out there.
Yeah,
and I mean the way it's shot, I think is fantastic. The way it's like there's a woman goes in after her dog, and then her husband goes in after her, and she drowns and he drowns, and then the swimmer who Scarlett Johansson has tried to seduce goes in to try and rescue the guy, and it's like
it's horrible, that bit, and they just leave the baby crying on the don't they? I mean, I think that is like a very clever way of showing someone being alien, because she's just brutal. She just doesn't care, does she? She's there to get that bloke, and then she manages to get him, and then that's it. She just drags him off, doesn't she, to the van, and the biker comes and tries to like tidy up some stuff to make it look like, because he's kind of like the cleaner, isn't he, or like the facilitator. He kind of like covers up when things go wrong or whatever, isn't he?
At this point, I
thought he was searching for her. Right, he's like
later he is
at this point
trying to stop her, right?
No. He's like her enabler, isn't he? I think at this point.
Yeah. See,
because at the start he takes the prostitute back for Scarlett Johansson to steal stuff from, and like here because I thought they're the same person for this first half of the film, because it's as though like the Scarlett Johansson alien is the seducer, and like the spider gets her in the web, and then there's a wasp, isn't there, at one point in the film that goes out and fixes stuff and like ties up, because she leaves a bit of the man's clothes on the beach, doesn't she? And that's why he goes to fetch that to make sure she's not found. So Chris, you thought the way you interpreted it was that the whole film he was chasing her through the whole.
Yeah, I guess because I remember the first time I watched it that the motorcyclist didn't register as that important to me when I, especially in the earlier scenes, and so I probably had just forgotten the earlier scenes. But on this viewing, I can get what you're saying. It's just the first time I watched it, I imagined that he was kind of trying to bring her in type thing.
Right, okay.
Like, because she'd been starting to become more human or feel more human things, and
I mean that's definitely the second half of the film, isn't it? I think definitely that is what's happened to her there. But were you going to say something?
I was going to say the kind of element that is from the book that I thought made a bit more sense is that in the book she's sent to Earth by a rich corporation to kidnap unwary hitchhikers, drugs them and delivers them to the other aliens, I guess, who fatten them up, and then they're turned into this human meat, which is an expensive delicacy on their planet. So she's based. And if you kind of think about that second time you see in and you actually see underneath the water or whatever it is,
and then there's of flesh.
Yeah, and there's that kind of conveyor belt of red stuff. It kind of makes it make sense that she is kind of, these people are being processed, or like.
I'm glad they didn't put any of that like back culture in though. Because
exactly. No. I think it's better without it. But if you know that, I think it makes what she's doing make a bit more sense. It's a bit weird she only kills men, but maybe that's the type of delicacy. Glaswegian men of a certain age are obviously what she's looking for.
Yeah, I mean I think as far as the film's concerned, I don't think that's in the film. That's non-canon. I don't think that's what she's doing.
No, you don't think? Because there's that shot of like a kind of conveyor belt with blood going down.
Yeah, but
And when they get sucked out, you don't think
I think that's
being...
just a process of what's going on there and then. I don't think they're trying to infer anything.
I mean, that's the thing about being ambiguous. You can think of it as that, can't you? A meat conveyor belt. But I would much rather not think of it like that. It's a much stronger film.
What do you think she's doing with them then?
Well, because that scene, when you see that's the second guy who she picks up in a nightclub, and all those shots are really good as well. They really capture that really well, that feeling of being in a nightclub. Don't
He's
they?
the actor, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So he goes in as well, and he sort of, under the water, meets the first guy, who is looking worse for wear. And they touch, horrible. And there's a terrible special effect. That guy kind of like...
Yeah.
Sort of... What does he do? Kind of like...
It's like everything's been sucked out of him, and it's just his flesh is like a balloon almost. Like it's just his skin is like still there and like flapping about. Oh, it's really, really well done. Like I think that was kind of like the peak of the film for me. I think that point I was like, oh wow,
really?
Yeah,
see,
and I think it kind of went down a bit after that. I'd say.
So I thought that effect was terrible and that it didn't look very good. That's what I meant. I thought it was very
really good.
I liked it floating about a bit, and then and that's when you get the switch to the red and the and it's quite like obviously like all that it's shot in black and there are like shades of blue, so it's very distinct that the red is like a separate thing.
Yeah.
To me, like I don't think it's anything. The way I read it was sort of like that is like the essence of him, going out, but it's not like a meat. It's just more that like she's understanding or taking the essence from them in a way of like just processing it in something not as mundane as making a steak, like it's just that it's a slurry of what he was, all his like emotions and feelings, stuff like that, because it disappears like into a very like bright red light, doesn't it, that kind of explodes off screen. I mean that's the point of films like this, is that it can be both those readings, can't it? It doesn't have to be either of them. They don't explain it, so but yeah, I mean she's still very much on mission at this point, isn't she? I think so. It's the scene after this when she's someone in a queue of lights gives her a rose. Have you ever seen this before? A guy giving out roses in traffic lights?
I've seen people flogging stuff at the side of the road. Maybe not flowers. They used
people
to
like try and wash my windows and stuff. But
I've had flowers, but I don't think it's very effective because. It's just not very effective. I don't think it's a way of doing it. But I have seen it, but not
in Scotland.
I wasn't in Scotland. It was in London, but
that's what I mean. It wouldn't be very effective, I don't think, in Scotland.
No, and it's a bit odd, isn't it? Because it's like, someone bought that for you. Doesn't he say something like that? Like
it's the guy in the car and going the way, isn't he? Like gives a little wave, like an old bloke in a 4x4.
Yeah. See, that must be set up. That can't be what naturally happened.
Strange. Oh, that's true. Actually, it couldn't have been it must have been a setup.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fortuitous if that was just random event that happened. While she was at the lights. Yeah.
So this is kind of the moment when her view starts to change a bit, I think, because you get this sort of there's another montage of her driving around Glasgow, and there's this weird shot of where she's just staring out the window, and her face is kind of superimposed over a very bright light as everyone moves, which I don't even know what to make of that. I don't know if either of you got any thoughts about what they're trying to say there.
Because she starts looking at women instead of men. That's what I wrote down. She's like starting to look at more. You see more shots of just women, everyday women. So I don't know if she's starting.
I think she's like starting to get human feelings.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she's starting to identify more with who she is or what she is masquerading as. I get that.
She's seeing herself like what her role should or normally is, and
you also get the radio report about the man drowning.
Yes,
and the wife drowning. So you kind of see again. I didn't know if I liked that or not, because that almost was like, oh, is this a plot thing? Are they going to have is the police going to be after her now, or is this going to turn into something? But it doesn't really go anywhere, does it? That bit, but.
Yeah, that's the first bit of contrivance that I don't like. The fact she's listening to the radio at all. Why would she have the radio on?
Yeah.
She's not to this point so far, is she?
No.
So she gets another guy then. Don't really see what happens to him. But then after that, this is when you see her putting her makeup on and the biker's there with her.
Yeah.
And it's as though they're in the place, but there's a brick floor, isn't there, as opposed to...
Yeah, it's a
weird.
different place as well, isn't it? Like to
don't
me,
know.
it looked like she took them to multiple houses. I couldn't really work that out at all.
Oh yes, it's not a block of flats, is it? Yeah.
No, I
But also,
couldn't really-
where she meets him isn't either of those places because it's a big brick floor, but it's
Yeah.
like it's still this void place. It's as though I don't know what's going on there either because he's sort of just like wandering around Inspector, isn't he? I think
Yeah,
perhaps he's checking she's not gone rogue at that point. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
dunno.
See, I think what we're doing, trying to work out the story, is why I think this film fails. Because rather than stay as this kind of abstract mood piece, art house mood piece that would be very affecting, it does at this point try and have a plot in a way.
Yeah, it invites you to work it out, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's the fact that we're trying to work it out. It's not our fault. It's the film is almost pushing us towards a story. And my problem with the whole film was it didn't have enough of a story to satisfy me and go, oh, okay, I get it now. But then it didn't go like kind of obscure and abstract enough for me to just be back on board with
it's dropping
that opening.
Crumbs, isn't it? And I'm not necessarily sure there's any true inferred meaning on some of them, or there is one way to take meaning on them.
That's my problem. I think from this point, you can infer what they meant, and you can find their meaning, and that's when it falls apart. When it is more ambiguous, like the red slurry thing, that's when it's stronger. I think the switching point for me is when she walks along the road, she falls over on the bricks, and everyone's like, "Oh, what's happened to you, whatever." And I think you're meant to think then, like, "Oh, that's the jolt, the wake up that makes a change in a way." Because then she does a lot more driving around as she does, drive. And then the last person she picks up is the deformed man, as the film calls her, Adam Pearson, who actually does look like
in a
that.
pub that I used to drink in.
Did he? He has neurofibromatosis, which basically means he's got like his face is gigantic, isn't it? Deformed in a way. And I mean, this is tough because it's harsh, but he's an actor, and he's not a very good actor, and it's a real break with what you've seen before. And it's not.
I'm not sure he'd acted much before this. If he had,
Well, no, I mean that's tell, but I mean he's going through the process of acting, isn't he? Not well. And if he was just a bad actor in a film that hadn't tried to make it so ambiguous and real, it wouldn't be as bad. But the problem is for me, this is the first sort of forced moment of them trying to force a message into it.
Exactly, yeah.
Like combined with the fact that he can't act very well, so it just completely pulled me out of it in a way that was
because it's kind of interesting at first. Because at first, when she starts asking the same questions, like, "Oh, have you got a girlfriend?" and stuff, you can't help but be like, "Well, that seems really insensitive." Like, and then you're like, "Oh no, but hold on, I'm out of order. He might have a girlfriend. Why am I thinking he wouldn't?" And when she's like, "Oh, have you ever touched a?" It's kind of interesting because her perspective is just, "Well, this is a man."
Interesting, and it's very awkward, isn't it? Watching it because you don't know how to feel, do you?
No, but unfortunately, she doesn't just kill him. It then turns into, like you say, she kind of feels sorry for him or whatever it is, and then she lets him go, and then the biker goes after him, doesn't he?
We're just seeing more of like her humanity. I think that's the idea, isn't it? And
yeah, but that's
a bit
why
rubbish.
It just feels so like rubbish because it's like, I mean, you're really hammering it home by getting like a literal elephant man to make that break for her.
Yeah,
and I understand there's got to be a twist that makes her go. But like, it couldn't be more ham-fisted than getting a guy with a face like that, and you know what I mean. Like, I understand getting him to make that point and make us feel uncomfortable and make us think, oh, the alien doesn't care what he looks like, but then she does care because this is the one she rejects. So, although you can say, oh well, she's being nice and whatever, the more brave thing to do would be him to be the second person of four, and he just gets done like the rest of them.
Yeah.
It? That's the braver move to make for the film.
No, I think this says more about human behaviour.
In what way?
In what you've just said, in the sense that she didn't kill him.
Why didn't she kill him?
She's going through all the thought processes that you've just gone through there.
Oh, right, so she's not killing him because she's starting to feel human and sympathise with how he looks.
Yes.
Right, okay.
No, I'm with Sam on this. I think it would have been more interesting if she just killed him, or even if he was the final guy who she ended up in a relationship with. I'd have found that more interesting. You know,
That is
like,
but that is an interesting way of looking at it, though, because then because that is like flipping it and saying, that's why her not doing it is her human side coming out, isn't it? In a way, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that really makes sense, definitely. But again, it just feels contrived to me. And
Yeah.
Like her original game plan, her sort of modus operandi, it changes because of the body she's in. And I think it becomes unexpected to her and the plan. She probably, I don't know if she'd been to other planets or, you know, it was unexpected what she'd feel at this moment in time. And I think that kind of explains some of the things we've seen.
But what does she feel at this point, though? What's she feeling differently?
She's feeling like a human.
she's feeling sorry for him or feeling like she shouldn't do
Feeling
it.
sorry for him. She's feeling whatever you could feel for him, really. In the sense, you don't even have to feel sorry for him. You just have to feel that he's a person.
No, I don't know. I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
You've talked me out of it again now. Yeah, but I mean that's the beauty of the film, up for interpretation, isn't it? Definitely. And I mean, you also see her like true form at this point. There's a brief shot of like the black skeleton thing as she walks in, and she also, this is the first time she actually gets in naked and like goes towards him, because she's been sort of just not. She's like very open to him in a way she wasn't to the other ones as well.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And then you see that she looks in the mirror for ages and ages and ages and ages, and then there's a little wasp on the window, and then he escapes, or he's let out more. He's let out, yeah. Because you see her behind, don't you? She lets him out.
She lets him out. Yeah.
And this is where it becomes less ambiguous what the motorcyclist is, because she runs off in the van, looking scared. And the motorcyclist, I think this is my favourite scene in the film. Just it's so menacing, like it's like very sort of it's like dawn. The light's very low. It's a strange looking estate, like a retirement estate, isn't it? Something. And he pulls upon his motorbike, storms down the drive, smashes into this Rover, and then goes to the back garden to pick up the escaping.
He's
victim.
naked as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's naked. He walks to a field, and he just drags him, puts him in the back of the car. And there's a brilliant like thumping soundtrack to this bit, isn't there? Like a really like just kind of
the soundtrack we haven't mentioned.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, that's really good.
It's a good soundtrack. Yeah.
The piece that plays when she takes them into the room, there's like screeching violins and that little drum.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yes, very effective. And that's I would say the last good bit of the film for me. this shot here. But, yeah,
it gets very kind of man fell from earth kind of now on, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't talk, does she? Is that right? She didn't say a single word after this, I don't think.
No, I don't think she. Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, no. She doesn't say very much anyway. I mean, it's just very sparse on dialogue, generally, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. So she goes up into the Highlands, and there's this like very on the nose sort of. She goes into a white fog, doesn't she? And again, I was like rolling my eyes at the sort of she's come from the black room and now she's in the white fog. It's like it's a bit sort of, film school, isn't it?
Yeah, really. Yeah, lots of nature around her. And yeah.
It's a bit pathetic, but and she's kind of on a quest of discovery, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess
she like goes to eat a cake.
I just thought she was just on the run now.
But she's not really, because she's like eating a cake and just wandering around a bit. She's not actively running, is she? That much?
Not really.
It's. I don't think she's necessarily aware that the bike man's after her.
No, I don't think
because
so.
There's a bit you're meant to think that, aren't you? But it turns out it's actually the human who's after her, isn't there? Because we see it's like cut back to shots. There's actually more than one biker now, isn't there? I think there's like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they are riding through the night to try and find her. We presume, but
like you say, she goes to a tea room and tries to eat chocolate cake and then spits it out because she can't eat it because she's an alien.
Yeah, and again, that's her trying to be human, I suppose, isn't it? There,
I didn't like that scene.
No, but the scene after that, there's a really beautiful shot of when she's walking down the road past the bus stop, when she meets the bloke she sort of like settles down with. And the shot's just composed really well. It's sort of the the road going up and curving round. I like on this film, like on the bit with the beach with them drowning, where it just stays on very wide, far away shots.
Yeah, some nice shots. Yeah, it looks good.
It looks. Yeah. Have you ever seen? There's a film about a mobile library in Wales. I can't remember what it's called. Aphex Twin did the soundtrack for it.
Oh.
It's a very strange film. It literally just follows this mobile library around. It's like a documentary. It's not even a documentary. It's odd, but it has this look to it. Okay. I'm not sure what that was called. 'Cause it's worth. I'll try and find it. Put the notes. But yeah, that's a reminder of that anyway. So she meets this guy who. I don't buy this relationship at all. What do you all think about this guy who? What is he? What's he meant to be? What's his role meant to be here?
Well, I started now thinking this film was hugely sexist, basically. Because I now started to interpret this film as being... So she starts off as a woman, because she is a woman, she's an alien, but she's a woman who is sexually aggressive, or at least uses men for the purpose she needs to use them for. And then she realises that's not how you need to be. So then she finds this nice man who watches Tommy Cooper and makes a cup of tea, and he treats her well. But in that relationship, she becomes passive. She's not dominant anymore. He's the dominant one. She has to be scared when they go up the castle, and he carries her over a puddle and stuff like that. So then she's becoming more of what we know, acceptable femininity. And then obviously we'll get to the end, but then she's paid back for her aggression towards men in quite a brutally, masculine way. And I just kind of started thinking, I don't think this film wants me to think this, but I'm quite easily reading this in this film. And that's a mistake because they've made it a bit obvious for me. I'm not saying that is what the film's about, but that reading seems quite blatant to me, and I couldn't see the purpose of this nice character. I couldn't see the purpose of him at all.
I read it differently in the sense that her sort of her sexual predatory, the way she is at the beginning, isn't that because she's not human, right? She's getting blokes for a functional reason,
right?
That's not a woman killing men, right?
Yeah, because she isn't a woman. She is, like I say, she is an alien. Yeah,
she starts to feel more human. She goes through these different stages of human emotion and understanding what being a human is, and these different feelings, to the point where she's in a nicer relationship, with a man, and then she sees that actually there's a dark side to human behaviour at the end.
Is it a nice relationship though?
Well, I'm just saying it's a softer,
definitely
understanding of human. It's like she goes on holiday. She loves the new culture she's in.
Yeah, that's
thinks,
true.
I could settle down here, and then gets mugged.
Yeah, no, that's that's quite an accurate portrayal of the whole plot, really.
The thing is, both those readings work, definitely. The problem with the reading of her as an alien is that, yes, she's an alien, but to our eyes, she is also still an attractive female woman.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying there aren't themes.
No, I'm saying, I'm saying that's the problem the film has, though, is that, it kind of trips over itself by making that choice early on and making her who she is, and that she's a sexual predator, and it is flipping the gender role of Because imagine if this was a man alien driving around in a van trying to pick up women, they'd never get in a van, would they? It wouldn't work.
Well, that's what I mean. I think this is a more predatory, successful means for a predator to get prey.
Exactly, but that choice as well can't help but then invite Alex's interpretation of it, because you have chosen a female to have that role. Therefore, it has to flip, and it does become this sort of sexist sort of thing, or can become a sexist sort of thing as well. You know what I mean? My reading of it is, again, different to both of yours, in that, to me, it's a very mechanical and dry flipping of the roles in terms of, and nothing more, really, for me. then like obviously you get Tommy Cooper who's doing the zzzz things on the TV that she's doing at the start.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh,
the heater in the room has a red light across it, like the slurry thing that she's got under the thing.
Clever.
When they go to the castle, there's a puddle where he carries her over the puddle like
like she doesn't.
Over.
Yeah, or like she walks on the water. Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When they go into
totally
the castle,
right.
they walk down into a dark thing down some stairs. It's like also like literally aping what she's been doing.
Yeah, and he
so
saves
for me,
her from that. Yeah.
Yeah. To have all that happening, I found it hard to engage anything past that sort of like very it banging me on the nose to go, like, look what's going on, understand what's going on here. Oh, it's the roles are reversed so like much, and it's just so contrived that like, when's the last time you saw Tommy Cooper on the TV?
Yeah, it was odd. That was odd. Maybe it's on a lot in Scotland.
The one sketch that she sees of Tommy Cooper. Yeah, but the one sketch she sees happens to be a sketch that is doing the exact same thing she did.
Yeah, so I didn't even know. I didn't pick up on that, but you're totally. That's it.
It's so contrived, and that's I mean, it's not the end of the world.
I don't come away from that. That's the most unbelievable thing of the film.
But for me, it is though, because that's the you've got the hand of the author there. The film at the start works because you can't see the script so much, and it is so improvised. Yeah. But as soon as you put that Tommy Cooper thing in, or the heater that she stares at with the light. You're reading the scriptwriter going, and then
it kind of smashes at that
totally
point,
like without a doubt. In that script that heater, the way it looks, is described in the script. It's not like there's a heater in the room. It's there's a heater with a thin red light that reminds you of the story machine, right. and that sketch is picked. It's just a shame because I think you can like the bit they walk around like the one-stop sort of convenience store. That's quite a nice scene because she seems so much more alien now that she's kind of just catatonic and wandering about. Yeah. But she's actually acting less alien because she's just a woman in a coat now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Which is a good flip. But yeah, I don't know. It's just and then you get so they like have an awkward sex scene, don't they? Where
well, I guess you're supposed to assume she just doesn't have anything. Yeah. That's what I got. She didn't realise, but she just doesn't have anything there. He can't do it and then just have a big look at herself, and it's like
and inspect her crotch.
Yeah, and again, I was like a bit like, oh look, she lured men with sex, and now she wants to. She's not allowed to. I thought that was a bit of a.
But also, you think that scene felt like it came out of like a comedy film or something? It felt really the way she runs.
Like my stepmother is an alien.
Yeah, the way she's like got a big lamp, like inspecting herself. It just felt very.
It's a bit odd.
Character.
It is odd. I mean, again, like we said, the problem of this film now is we are heavily into a kind of plotted. There's no way this guy isn't an actor. There's no way there isn't a script at this point, or at least a set of staged improvisations, because it's got a plot. It's got a narrative now. The biker is chasing her. She's gone off to have this relationship. It's I think it really loses its way.
Definitely. Yeah, and that brings us really to the final sort of act of the film, which is she's after this failed sexual encounter, she leaves this bloke. I guess because she realises, well, I'm not human. What place is there? I'm not alien. I'm not human. What am I going to do now? So she wanders off into the woods, and I love the scene where she meets the bloke for the first time. It's like logger dude, and the way he just keeps talking to her, he's like, "Oh, out for a little walk, are you? It's nice out for a walk. Yeah, acres everywhere. You'll love it."
I knew that he was trouble though from the start.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're clearly meant to know trouble. Like the fact he's like a skinhead.
He's from London, isn't he, Chris? Come on. He's from London. Of course, he's trouble.
Yeah.
He's the only person from the south in the whole film.
The way, he's got such a a clear like psychopathic look about him, hasn't he? The way he talks, and I love his rambling bit. I mean, I guess the only surprise really is that he doesn't get her straight away, and he leaves her to walk off. But no, just a really good performance by that guy. I think the way he does all that is really, nice. And you get the sense that the motorcyclists are much closer now because they're up in the Highlands as well. They're in the trees and they're not far away. And she lies down, like one of those like those cabins that they have for ramblers and stuff, isn't it? Where you can sleep overnight if you're on a big long trek. And wakes up to find this guy trying to rape her. And I think that's done really well, isn't it? Because you just see like a hand on a leg, and it's very subtle.
Yeah.
And in a way that the last scene isn't.
Yeah.
It's a very sort of tasteful way of doing that. And she runs off, gets caught. Guy tries to rape her, pulls her skin off and reveals the alien underneath. and his first reaction is to run off and come back and just set her on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. It just feels like they wanted that really cool image of her on fire in the landscape. It's a really nice image, but yeah, would you jump to that if you were that guy?
Well, the way I thought about it is that like you could think of his motive as he's going to rape a girl in the forest and then set her on fire, right? So he's like skipped a step, hasn't he? And so he thinks, well, I couldn't do that.
He takes the fire equipment with him.
Yeah, he was going to do that anyway.
I mean, it makes sense, wouldn't it? If you're going to be a serial killer, you need to dispose of the body, don't you? Yeah. So I suppose that's.
Yes.
So he's got that there to do that, and he just thinks, well, I can't do the raping bit, so I'll do the fire bit. I mean, I'm being polite to here because I don't think it makes much sense. So you would just run off, wouldn't you?
He's had half a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it. He thought, I might as well get half.
Might as well get some of this done. Yeah, maybe.
We could do it the other way round.
Yeah. Well, no, because her skin's fallen off, hasn't it? So.
Oh right, yeah.
And the shot is a really good effect shot, isn't it? Where she pulls her head off. I think that's really well done. The way she sort of looking to the side and then just peels her head back. It's kind of
Well, I read that he Jonathan Glazer shot loads of commercials while this was in pre-production.
Yeah, he's a big commercials director.
Yeah, and he used a lot of them to do some of the ideas for the film. So he would put the bits that he wanted in the film, I guess special effects and stuff, and he would do them in the adverts. It made me almost want to watch the adverts while this was to see what kind of weird... You could probably see things that...
Channel 4 idents last year, which were quite interesting.
With the giant 4 thing walking around, was that him?
The tardigrade. It goes microscopic, and then the tardigrade is eating.
Oh, no, I've not seen that. No.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Yeah.
So then she set on fire, walks out into the snow, and you see her her ashes burn off into the thing. And then the last shot is the motorcyclist up on a hill looking around, and it's kind of left ambiguous as to whether he knows... my reading of that was that he's kind of senses that she's gone, and he's sort of thinking, where's she gone? You know what I mean? Because he's clearly got some sort of tracking ability, hasn't he? Yeah. It's as though he's like, he can't track her anymore, but he's like, well, I don't understand what's happened to her. You know, he can't really work out what's gone on there. I don't know if you... Any other interpretations of that ending?
No, I thought the same, yeah. That
other than just to say to the audience, they're still here.
Yeah, that's what... Yeah, exactly. This is still going to go on. This is going to happen again, as it were. Yeah. Do you know it was conceived as a high-budget film about 2 aliens disguised as a husband and wife. Brad Pitt was cast as a husband, but progress was slow. And he decided...
Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and the idea of it was that they spent ages writing a script, and it was in pre-production for 10 years, I think, and she was involved. Yeah, and she was involved... She was on board for 4, and it was I think 10 years it was involved. It was going on, and basically it was supposed to be this massive, huge budget of and loads of special effects, and they decided to go through and just focus on the woman, get rid of all the special effects, pare it right down. And he said Glazer likened it to Glazer's the writer, isn't he? Yeah,
the director.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Glazer as well. Yeah, he likened to a big extravagant rock band turning into PJ Harvey. So basically, they just stripped everything down, made it way more ambiguous, and then came out with this, I guess. So I think that it's better for that. I don't think it would have been good as a huge big budget.
Yeah, I dread to think what that would look like. I mean, it would be completely unrecognisable, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be the same thing at all.
No.
So overall, anyway, Chris, what's your overall opinion of Under the Skin?
I love it.
Wow. Oh, right.
I loved it when I first saw it. It's right up my alley.
And you've not got the issues with the second half that me and Alex have? You'd like that still as well?
No. It's... there are things, but it's kind of... I think you keep getting information at a pace which is good. So, yeah, I know there are some issues with how ambiguous things are, but sometimes I like them sort of movies, where you can sort of...
It's the lack of ambiguity that I've got.
Yeah, me too.
That's my problem with it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but it's that funny sort of ambiguity, though, isn't it? It's that where they. I can't remember how we described it, but it was I think there's enough there for me. It's quite pretty as well. The film,
It does look good.
I like how there's not much dialogue.
Yeah.
It shows rather than tells, which is I like
to a point.
Yeah.
Alex, what we know kind of. Yeah.
I think it's half a good film, and I think it does to me. I like I said, I'd either want it to be that halfway point. Like I said, to me, it was kind of turned after the guy got sucked out. I either wanted it then to turn into. I wanted it all to be a lot clearer, so a lot more explained, or I wanted it to stay or to go back to being more like kind of nightmarish and dreamlike and kind of a mood piece. I think that the elements of plot they brought in, they didn't make it better. They made it worse, in fact. It's like it tried to hint more. It gave you more of a story, but I didn't like that story. And I thought, like you say, it felt heavy-handed, some of it. And I think that was sad.
To see it like punch up into another gear at the end.
Yeah,
like a different scale of film, even like if it just stepped up in some way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Know. Yeah, if it even if there'd been a kind of a plot in the middle and then it had transformed at the end, I don't know. I felt like I felt like the things, like you say, it was very vague and ambiguous, and then the stuff they decided to clear up, I didn't really like what they were saying. I found that a bit, I didn't buy it, and it's quite clear. Like you say, they're going and eating chocolate cake and having to spit it out, and I found that a bit cliched, and I think that's sad because I think the film is quite innovative and interesting, and it's a bit sad that it started to hit those notes. And now you've said that bit about the whole man, I totally agree with you, and that the echoes of those early scenes, and that really I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally it now. So
yeah. I mean, I'm definitely closer to you than.
I'm not sure many people will connect them things, to be honest.
Well, they might not, but I did. So I can't, in my view of it, I can't. As I say, it was just such a thing for me of like taking it out, and I'm reading a script rather than watching a film at that point, and I can't get back into it, and it's a shame because I think the start is so strong, and I do love that whole. I love the way it's shot. I love the idea of them kind of filming it sort of, undercover around normal people. I think Scarlett Johansson does really well at the start of the film as well. I think she acts it really well. I think her performance gets worse as it goes on as well. I don't think that she. I think that she just becomes a face staring at things, like a pretty face staring at things, which again is problematic when you think about the themes of her role twisting from being a controlling thing to a non-controlling thing. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of when you say it could be a good short film, I agree. Like I would much rather watch a film that is half an hour that is just Scarlett Johansson going around Glasgow killing people. I don't need the illusion of it being an alien. Even like that's the problem with it for me, is that it becomes clearer that it is. I don't know what the word is. Like that idea that she's alien becoming human. That's the bit I don't want to see. I couldn't care less about that. It's really boring to me. I much prefer exploring the concept of some organism that doesn't understand the conventions of sex, using sex to consume things without having to go into it's an alien and it's going to get human feelings. No, just leave it as an alien that she does it and then leaves. Maybe the last shot is she just flies off. I think not in the spatial, just disappears. But I
think we said kind of the same thing about Man Who Fell to Earth, that it got worse when he got more like he settled down and he got more human. He got more involved with things. It was the opening of that was more interesting, when it was a bit more abstract, and you didn't really get who he was, what he was doing, his odd behaviour. That I think that's obviously the problem with these types of films. They
definitely, and again, like it's the film's credit, like the fact, like Chris saying, that most people wouldn't get those bits of imagery in the second half. The only reason I'm getting them is because I was so invested into the first half. I was watching it that closely. So it's to the film's credit that I have torn it apart so much at the end, because I was that invested in it that I was going to go for this very like deep, close reading of it, if you see what I mean. So so all right, but heavily flawed, but nice soundtrack.
Yeah, very good soundtrack.
Brilliant soundtrack.
Gonna be a strange one to rate, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess, Alex, I guess you're. I don't know. I can't really work out for me you who liked it more. But
I think
Alex,
Chris likes it the most. I'll say around kind of 40s, maybe around like Independence Day, Tron, that kind of Andromeda Strain, maybe even a bit lower around War Games. 40-50 zone. That's where I'd put it.
I was thinking sort of slightly higher, perhaps below Lost World, like 38, that kind of area, 37. Chris, what were you thinking?
I would put it somewhere around the 16 sort of area.
No. No.
I mean, for me, you know, seeing the filmmaking, like, techniques used that's kind of what I'm getting out of it. Like, it's just like quite clever in them in what it shows to what it's trying to get across.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why for me it's a 30 film and not an 80 film.
Yeah, it's not as good as T2
or Contact.
No, definitely not as good as Contact.
Contact's another film actually that has that like big ideas problem. I guess it's very different, you know, not as ambiguous at all, but also really stumbles at the end, doesn't it? And that kind of...
And Snowpiercer, I'd say Snowpiercer. That was another film that was visually very good, but then it kind of that lamed out a bit at the end, didn't it?
What about 28 above Contact, below T2? Because that's kind of the midway point between our sort of range.
I personally think that's a bit high, but if everyone's going with that, I'm not going to fight it. I don't feel passionately enough to kind of fight on that one. So, and if Chris really did like it, then that seems fair.
Yeah, it's also that kind of film where I wish, as I was watching that, I was thinking, I wish I could watch 2001 in this frame of mind. Like, that Under the Skin gets me into the frame of mind where I can think deeply about it, and I wish I could. I understand that's what people get out of 2001, isn't it? Mm-hmm, and I wish I could watch it in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's frustrating to me. This is more my aesthetic, like, you know, grim Glasgow, Scarlett Johansson in a prostitute's wig. That's more my thing than a baby flying through space. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So say 28 then. That's
Brilliant.
Yeah. Really, we've started with a very deep episode for
and it got us talking because I mean,
definitely, yeah.
It does have interesting themes and talks about them in an interesting way.
But listeners, we're not normally like this. Normally, it's just swearing and offensive jokes.
Yeah, so that's good. We'll start with me to go on. I mean, I'm guessing next week's not going to be quite as
we'll see
deep, but we'll see, won't we? So let's go into the past to find out what's in the future. Oh, that's appropriate, isn't it? Actually, for next week. Anyway, spoilers. Hello, we're back again from the past, and it's the second of our three 2014 retrospective films. This week, it's Chris's choice. So, Chris, what have you picked to watch?
I have picked Chris Nolan's Interstellar.
Woo! I haven't seen that either.
I just thought it would, elicit some conversation.
That's 5 years ago.
You should watch it, I guess.
It's gone fast, hasn't it? Yeah.
There was a lot of sci-fi happening this period.
Yeah, big ones as well. Yeah. So, you have a little synopsis, Chris, of Interstellar?
Yeah. So it's an end of the world to save the world sort of story, set in the near future, I think. And it's kind of not a Nolan take on, in the similar way he kind of gave Batman a bit of a revamp, but it put it in a real world. This is noted for its kind of real take on scientific principles.
Okay.
And it's interesting in that sense because it deals with time and space and the big things. I'm not how successfully we'll see, but have you guys seen this? I guess, yeah.
I have, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
some treats for you then, Alex.
What was that, sorry?
Treats for Alex then. Yeah. He's getting older.
There's two films you've seen, yeah. Well, let's watch this trailer for Interstellar anyway.
And we count these moments the first ever to fly faster than the speed of sound.
These moments when we dared to aim higher, to break barriers, to reach for the stars,
76, you are go.
to make the unknown known. We count these moments as our proudest achievements.
Having fired the imagination of a generation.
Is this an official trailer?
Yeah. 14th of December 2013 that came out.
Because the one I was looking at is completely different.
It's probably later, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you're right. That seems like a first. I always try to get the first trailer. So it's like a teaser.
Yeah, that's
isn't it,
one.
really?
It says
But-
1 year from now.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah,
It's an
wow.
early look at it.
I don't know about Matthew McConaughey, but yeah, we'll give it a go.
It's weird that he always does that same voice,
Blah
isn't
blah
it?
blah blah blah.
Who?
Isn't actually his own
McConaughey.
voice.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that his voice?
No,
What? Why does he talk then?
not like that. He's not got that weird drawl to him, has he?
Oh, okay.
I don't
Got a
think
bit
so.
more Texas about him, I think, in real life.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Well, that'll be next week, and we'll see you then for that then. Bye. Yep, so next week it is Chris's choice, which was Interstellar. You really couldn't go from a smaller budget to a bigger budget, could you? Really, there's a scope of films, but
Yeah.
So we've got a bit of correspondence. This is from Thomas, who's a new listener, and he says, "Hello, I'm a new listener." Funnily enough, he's a new listener. That's good that he told us.
Well done.
Anyway, I'm enjoying the podcast. Keep up the great work. That's lovely to hear.
Thank you. Yeah.
He says, "Do you take suggestions?" Funnily enough, we do. And he said, please take a look at, and he's given us two series, Doctor Who and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, obviously better known for their TV work.
Because there was a recent Power Rangers film. Has there been another one?
There was a recent one. There was a 90s one. I'm not sure we should watch that. I think, though, it would be quite interesting to watch the 60s Doctor Who film. What do you think about that?
Yeah, isn't it someone, is it Peter Cushing as Doctor Who?
Hang on, let's have a quick look.
I believe.
Doctor Who and the Daleks. Yes, Peter Cushing.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's considered canon to the Doctor Who, whatever, but it's interesting.
I mean, like, I don't know what your thoughts on Doctor Who is. I could not give a shit about it. So, as soon as Sylvester McCoy left, I wasn't interested.
Oh, yeah, I loved Sylvester McCoy as well.
He was the best one, wasn't he? Everyone hates him, but that's...
No,
I guess
I
it's-
liked
it's-
him.
Yeah, Peter Cushing and Roy Castle. I think it'd be interesting, something different, wouldn't it, to what we've watched with Phil before, I think.
Roy Castle.
It's a genre we don't... It's a decade, sorry, we don't really... haven't got loads of entries
And also,
from.
like, old British sci-fi is definitely a thing there's not much of, isn't it, really, in terms of things. So, yeah, I think I definitely want to...
Good one, Thomas.
What
Good.
did you say, sorry? It'd be shit.
Because it's shit.
Well, fair enough, maybe, but I think it's definitely one...
Thunderbirds is as good as it got.
Did they do a film with that in the 60s?
Yeah, they did.
Probably,
Did they?
yeah. Oh, yeah, there's one with Cliff Richard in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah, fuck.
Yeah, as puppets. Yeah, it's really...
It's terrible, that.
Yeah, that's been on telly, I'm sure.
Let's not watch
Oh, well,
that.
there we go.
There's
So-
a 1950... No, there's a
1966 film, Thunderbirds Are Go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We might
Well, I'm
get
looking
that as
forward
well,
to
but-
Doctor Who. That's a good one. That's an interesting one.
Good shout, Thomas. That'll be an interesting one to watch for sure. Yeah.
Especially as none of us are big Doctor Who fans.
Yeah. And and that's so not the current Doctor Who anyway, isn't it? That kind of
Oh, yeah.
60s Doctor
Oh,
Who.
God, no, yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind. I quite liked the Paul McGann film. Do you remember that? That was a very weird,
God.
dark one. With
what, with
who's the
the-
bad guy in that? Is it Bruce Roberts?
The
It's like
American...
a-
that was the American...
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my God.
it's terrible, but in an interesting way.
yeah.
Sylvester McCoy's in that briefly at the start as well. Anyway, so we'll come to that further down the line. Thanks for the suggestion. If you've got any more suggestions, get in touch. And actually, yeah, Alex, give us a blast of
yes,
things.
email us at sciencefictionratingsystem@gmail.com. The website, sciencefictionratingsystem.com. Everything's there. And then on our social media is all SF Rating System. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Go explore the wonderful world of Science Fiction Rating System.
Brilliant. Cool. I think that's all. Anything else,
No.
you two?
See you next week.
Fantastic. See you next time for Interstellar.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.